those other good joints. For some reason, let me move this back a bit. I want y'all to be able to see the whole screen. Ta-da! Anyway, it's me, Kev from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And it's been a few days since I've seen you, talked to you, all that stuff. Life, you know how it is. But I'm here now to make some examples out of the crazy left. But first things first, I have to check and make sure you guys can hear me. Check one, check one. Check two. My mic sounds nice. Check one. If you are on Facebook and you can hear me, let me know. All right. Good. Good morning, Kev, from Thailand. Yeah. All right. And I see YouTube and Facebook. Y'all both can hear me. Okay, great. We're good. We're good. Now, if you notice, behind me is a number. All right. Now, y'all all have the other number as well, those that watch my channel consistently. If you have also text and joined that text group with the other number, stay there. If you want to get double for your trouble, you can also join this one. This one allows me to respond anytime I want. And I don't have to pay for no additional text messages. I don't have no limits on this one. But I'm not going to have you all jumping through hoops. So if you're already signed up for the other text alert number, you can stay there or you can join this one as well. You'll still be getting messages. But this one, is 330-974-4607. I don't want to hear nobody talking about, I ain't got no long distance. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me if you still paying for long distance. I don't want to hear that. I need an 800 number. What? For what? I don't even know why they still have those. I mean, in America, if they're charging you for long distance calls, you need to get rid of that phone service immediately. Talking like yesterday. So please do that and text the word MAGA and you'll get a reply directly from me. So that is the new number that I'm going to use moving forward. That is not canceling out the old number. So you don't have to drop that number if you're already on board with that. Now, if this is your first time checking out the show, hit like, share my videos. Yeah, see, don't come around my neighborhood playing. Y'all, I think I let him get away. My Mr. Miyagi didn't work. Dang on it. Somebody go get my chopsticks. So anyway, if this is your first time joining the show, hit the like button. Follow me on the other platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Join my podcast. You can find these all transferred into podcasts on pretty much any platform. And then also follow me on Rumble. Rumble in the Jungle. Somebody said, get him, Kev. Oh, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. It's my mission. It's my mission now. Dang on it. So please do all those things. And if you want to join the super chat and participate, please feel free. But if you want to support the channel directly, you can always do that through my Cash App and my PayPal. I think I'm going to have a little fundraising thing going on for a little bit. I think I'm going to do something called my $10 video. You know, we'll see. I'm going to pick up a particular video and see how many people can support the channel based off of that video. Anybody who watches that one particular video, if they was to ever, I was doing it in my head, the way to get around YouTube. And I'm like, man, one video, if everybody that watched that video just participated in one time donation, $10 video, I call it, then hey, I'll have some breathing room when it comes down to YouTube. I want them off my back, y'all. And I also want to kind of open up some more things that I could provide to you guys through my channel, along with taking care of my lifestyle and all that stuff. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we don't, because I hate doing stuff like that. But we'll see. We'll see how YouTube treats me as we go on through this month. But I tell you what I'm about to do. I'm about to treat these people we're about to watch real bad. So let's get busy, y'all. Saturday. Might as well get loose. Boy. Woo. Crack the neck, stretch the shoulders. Oh, there's my bird. There's the bird. The bird is the bird. It's the bird. It's the bird. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. There's some kings in the building. Gorillas in here. Gorilla in here. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Gotta wipe my nose, dang on it. So I'm feeling mighty Trumpian because of what they're doing to President Trump. I don't like it, man. In fact, I despise it. I mean, you know, it boils over in my stomach. It gives me knots in my stomach, man. Burns me up every time I think about it because it is so obviously corrupt. And we're going to be talking about that. But first, I found a clip where Secretary Barabbas, I call him, had the nerve to go up to the Capitol, and they were asking him about what's going on down on that funky border. And this man right here has the nerve to try to, be all smooth and cool and handle it. But boy, did he get something handed to him. Oh, he got his own butt handed to him. He got his butt ripped off and shoved right in his own face. He's like, what's that? Your butt? I just ripped your butt completely off and shoved your face in your own butt. That's what's about to happen to Barabbas. And that's a fitting nickname that I gave him, okay? Because that's what he is. A cheat, a crook, Barabbas. So here he is. Oh, well, I thought it was garlic at first. I need to change that typo.
I want to start with your attention here on this jar. Do you see this? Do you know what this is?
Looks like candies or snacks.
Unfortunately.
Wow. Looks like candies or snacks. Boy, I would have jumped over that desk, ran down that aisle with that thing, and shoved it right in his face. Can you see it now? Huh? Does it look like snacks? Do it smell like candy? Huh? You can't recognize this from there? Huh? You should know it by heart, because this is what the cartel uses as they're transporting people back and forth across our border. I'd have dumped the whole thing on his head. Huh? Can you see it now? But let's see what he says.
Unfortunately, the reality is much more grim. These are wristbands that the cartels force people to wear when they cross the border. And if you're not wearing one and you cross the border, the cartels will take a limb or an appendage. This is what these people are forced to wear, and it dictates what cartel they belong to, how much they have paid.
Wow.
And they are absolutely a part of the horrors of trafficking and smuggling that occurs at our southwest border.
All orchestrated by the U.S. government. See, that's why he's Barabbas. This man right now, along with Creepy Sleepy and along with Mucus and along with the rest of them, Garlic, all of them, they're a part of this human trafficking thing. You can't tell me they're not. Because see, when you encourage people to come, knowing that these people are not coming because they're seeking asylum and all of that, and you have some seedy motive, and you know the method of them getting here, they have to get trafficked by the cartel, then you also are complicit in that. You could shut this whole thing down if you wanted to. The cartel has to work and operate based on knowing that you guys have some allowances built in. See, you might fake it until you can make it. Try to act like you're arresting people and slowing people down, shifting certain things around. It's like moving money around. Yeah. Well, we're broke here, but we put the money over here. Oh, look at this. This part right here is all you're doing is shifting things around, trying to tell us now we're fighting against illegal immigration and taking it to the cartel most of the time. And then all you're doing is shuffling these people right back across the border and bringing them right back. You're doing things like saying, let's go ahead and open up all these ports of entry so these people could keep coming there, and then we can lie to the people and say, you know what, illegal crossings are down, but what we really did is just shuffled it around. We just said, let's go ahead and have all the folks that would have illegally crossed come right through the ports of entry, and then we'll just say, look, illegal immigration is down. They're coming legally because of our new bootleg immigration policies. However, they're still not coming free, because when you seek asylum, it should be free. You shouldn't have to stop and pay those cartel members. You shouldn't have to be rocking wristbands to get across the border when all you're doing is fleeing for your life. You're fleeing for your life, right? If this was the case, folks would not put money into getting here if all they were doing was trying to escape political or religious persecution. That's dumb. You're escaping a dangerous situation and walking right into another dangerous situation. That's what you're telling me. You're telling me the persecution by, say, some dictator in South America over your religion or your political beliefs is going to be worse than you owing the cartel $6,000. I'll take the dictator. I'm sorry. See, the dictator ain't going to cut you up, kill your family members, and hang you from a bridge somewhere. See, the dictator ain't going to come and follow you over into America if you don't pay up and still have some miraculous way of assassinating you on our territory. So Mucus and Barabbas and Garlic and Creepy, all of them know that this stuff is happening because they allow it. Period. So now this guy's playing dumb. He has no idea what those wristbands are. She should go wrap one of them ones around his neck. Let's continue.
And I have to point this out because I want to tell the journey, because this has really been laid out in bits and pieces along the way by my colleagues. And we're here to talk about these kids. So if you could turn your attention to the screen real fast, I want to show a quick photo that I took. It was 11:46 at night. I myself took this photo. That little girl that you see was acting terrified, not of the agents, not of myself, but of the man holding her.
And I wonder why. Hold me like the river Jordan. What about the kids, y'all? What about the kids? Save the world. You telling me that these Democrats that's always telling us about the kids being ripped from their parents and Donald Trump, how he treats the kids, and the only people coming are mostly women and children and families and stuff like that. But now we got this cute little girl right there crossing with, I guess he's a papi, her papi. Why is she scared to be crossing with her papi?
The very next day at the Donna processing facility, we threatened, and I was there to witness this man with a DNA test. He confessed that he actually was not her father, that he had rented her.
Say what? So you telling me they're renting kids down there at that border? I could go down there and be like, yo, man, I want to rent a kid for about a day because I'm about to break a crime, and the only way I can get through and they not punish me for the crime is if I come through with a kid. So let me rent one of these little kids. Let me see. That one looks... Yeah, he looks cute. Yeah, he looks like he'll bust up some hearts if they look. Let me get him out and go rob a bank real quick. So when they pull me over and the kid's sitting in the back with a big bag of money in his lap. Oh, well, we can't take that money off that kid's lap now, can we? We wouldn't want to separate this kid from his father. You are his father, right? Yeah. Now he does look Mexican. You look black, but I'm trusting you. We don't need to do a DNA test, do we? No, absolutely not. My father's side is very Mexican-ish. Okay, now you get out of here. Stop that robbing banks, buddy. All right, here's a ticket. Once you report back to the bank about 3 years from now, and we'll try your case. Oh, okay, no problem. I'm on it. Okay, thanks, officers. That's what's happening. So these kids are being rented and recycled down there at that border.
This is a process called recycling.
Oh.
Now, I know we're here to talk about what happens to these kids after this point, but this little girl was then turned over to HHS custody, your custody. And you've talked at length today about the vetting process, right? So you now know that this little girl, not through a DNA test, she's not related to that man. She now is in your custody. You have your own case managers who are supposed to vet these processes. And we, of course, know this from the Florida grand jury. These case managers have very little training or no training in interviewing these individuals.
So the little girl now is in his custody, like personally? Did they send the baby over to Barabbas' crib? And so he can protect the kids? Because see, I thought that's all it was about with the Democrats and AOC with her white on, crying and slobbering and sliding down fences and saying, why? Take me, not the kids, why? Or do you think he just shuffled this kid off to some organization that's supposed to be vetting the kids, and then these guys are probably making like $12.50 an hour and getting bombarded with a whole bunch of kids that are showing up and they're all right, kid, you look healthy, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can tell. So now what do? Oh, send them to a sponsor, right? Send them to a sponsor. That's safe. Let's see what's up with that.
Particularly children and young children who have been traumatized. You can imagine this man who you just saw on the screen, who, by the way, was a convicted sex offender with this child.
But wait a minute. When Trump said they're sending murderers, they're sending rapists, they're sending drug dealers, they got all on him, man. They called that man all kind of names. He's xenophobic. It's obvious that he's racist and this and that. So let me understand. These precious illegal immigrants that's coming here for a better life had the nerve to be a sex offender, carrying a little teeny girl. How do you think that played out? Yeah, could it be possible he's renting her for more than just the ability to get across that border? And if she and whoever she was with would not have questioned that man and demanded that he took a DNA test, God knows where that little girl would be right now. I'm tempted to say, does she need adoption? Unbelievable, man. But no, Barabbas don't care. Now, imagine that's just one case. Can you imagine how many kids are victims of this all because of these stinking dirtbags? No wonder they got mad about that trafficking movie, Sound of Freedom. No wonder they all got a little upset, huh? Because they're all participating in that one way or another.
You can imagine the trauma that that child had sustained. Your own case managers are not trained in examining, evaluating, or recognizing documents as authentic or fake. She came with no documents.
No documents.
They have no official training when it comes to trauma-informed interviewing skills.
Wow. But we're vetting them. We're vetting it. That's what we're doing. We're vetting it. Now, here's my question. If you come across the border as that little girl, no papers, no nothing, find out that that man is not her real father rather, who is this little girl? I mean, who is her real parents? Can we even get her back to her real parents? What do you do with you? I mean, what are you going to go down to the border with a bullhorn? Hey, listen, we got a little girl here. This guy was lying about being her father. Anybody out there is a real parent? About 15 hands go up. I see. Because they want the little girl to do the exact same thing that one guy did. So there's some parent down in South America that's about to lose their mind because somebody snatched their little girl to use in this process. And that is why I want to put my foot, both of them, along with every one of y'all feet, up this dude's butt. That's why. They're encouraging this. If you don't give an incentive to kidnap little kids, then it won't happen. But you're giving an incentive because they're using this as a pathway to get into our country.
No official training when it comes to investigating the safety or legitimacy of addresses to which a UAC may be sent. Now, I don't know what happened to that little girl, but what I do know is that the sponsors that you claim to thoroughly vet, which I would love to get your definition of thorough, because you haven't been able to articulate that here today.
Because there is no definition. They say that stuff all the time. We have a process that we go through. We thoroughly vet. Like how can you thoroughly vet any of these people? That's my question. Do you think they're going to come across in this open up, make a confession? Back in South America, I used to kill people and sell drugs. I was a part of MS-13. My real name is. Here's my social security number. I was arrested 15 times. Now, can I come in? No. They're going to tell you, I got a clean bill, never been arrested. I'm good. Yep, just coming here for a better life. Oh, can we see some paperwork? Oh, no, don't have none of that. Lost it on the way. Okay. Well, you come on in. Okay, well, we trust you. You look kind of honest, I guess. That's the process. That's thoroughly investigating. You would have to have done something so obviously corrupt that your name pops up on some database that they're like, wow, this guy must have really been a terror for him to pop up on our database here in the U.S. But, Barabbas don't care about those things. Mucus don't care about those things. Creepy Sleepy don't care about those things. He barely care about his own kids. You think he care about these kids? It's unbelievable. All the Democrats, they don't care about kids when it comes down to abortion. They don't care about kids when it comes down to transgendering them. They don't care about kids when it comes down to little black kids and underprivileged kids living in the hood that they create, this victims of gun violence and gang violence. They don't care about that. And they sure enough don't care about these kids being trafficked across our border, because all of that helps them get their precious illegal voters. They're not even illegal immigrants. They want them coming for illegal votes.
It also would include the fact that these kids show up with numbers pinned to their clothes or sharpied on their bodies to call. Agents have reported in official testimony that these kids have the numbers, the same phone number sharpied on their arms time and time again.
What?
Now, we've heard, of course, of situations where the same sponsor is being called and magically 20, 30, 40 kids end up with that sponsor.
Why haven't we impeached these bums? I mean, they can't arrest themselves. They're not going to arrest themselves. But this is trafficking. This is a betrayal of our country. This right here is them doing the opposite of what they swore to do, which is protect our border. But then it has other implications. It's not just the fact that illegal immigrants are coming, but look what is happening to these kids. So let me get this straight. Kids come across with a number. Okay, call the number. That's my sponsor. Next kid comes across. Call my number. That's my sponsor. Okay. That kid somehow ends back up, come back across. Same number, call my number. So the sponsor is just a hub to recycle the kids, right? Yep. Here's my, how you going to be a sponsor and 3,500 kids have your number? How are you sponsoring this kid? What is the role of the sponsor is my question. I mean, if the role of the sponsor is to care for the kid, watch out for the kid, make sure the kid is placed in a certain environment and all that stuff. Well, if it's the same phone number, that means you got one sponsor or a few that's responsible for how many kids that comes across the border. And you're telling me Barabbas don't know that? He don't stop and take a second to go down there and say, all right, wait a minute, all these kids can't be using this same number here. How many sponsors are out there? Secondly, wait until you hear who the sponsors are. You would think they'd be American citizens over here. Like, you know what? I got a big heart. I'm going to go ahead and be a sponsor for these kids. Look out for them. But nope, guess who the sponsors are?
And again, I go back to your statement of we thoroughly vet. You've really emphasized that. Do you vet every member of the household? And does it include an FBI check? Does it include an Interpol check? I would have hoped that it would, considering that we've had 151 different nationalities cross the southwest border under the Biden administration.
Wow, 150 something different nationalities. Now, I don't know how many nationalities there are in South America, but I don't think it's 100 and some countries down there. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't checked my geography lately. But when you have that many nationalities coming across the border, you could bet that they're not all Latino. Okay? I'm guaranteeing you, we got some Russians, we got some Chinese, we got some Arabs, we got some Africans, we got some Koreans, we got a whole bunch of folks coming. Dang on it. So what they've done is opened up a portal, not just for folks coming from South America, but for anybody across the globe. Yeah, long as you can get to South America, you can come right on in if you got a couple chips to pay the cartel. That we don't discriminate. Terrorists, you're fine. Long as you pay us your money, you're fine. Okay. Chinese nationals, hey, look, they ain't got nothing to do with us. Just pay us as the cartel your money, and we'll go ahead and get you in there. Let the Americans deal with that stuff. Who else needs to come? Yeah. See, that's how our border is blew out, and this guy's up here blowing smoke up our butt, talking about we have a vetting process is pretty extensive and all of that. And then we find out who the sponsors are.
But I'm guessing that it doesn't, because only 9% of the UACs are subjected to a DNA test with their sponsor, less than 23% to a background check.
9% of these people are subject to a DNA test. So this sponsor, I don't know if it's supposed to be their their parents rather, or family member, but they're only doing a DNA test for 9% of them. Do you know how many of these kids are being placed with complete strangers? The majority. So if they're only doing 9%, that means what we got 91? 91% of these kids are being placed with folks that doesn't have a DNA test. So we have no idea. We have no idea if these people are kin folks. But hey, doesn't matter. Remember Obama? Where they shipped all those kids out? Thousands of them. Yeah. You're all his uncles, right? Yeah. Okay, kids, all right, get on in the back of that truck. Yeah, and just shipped them off. And ended up finding them somewhere in Ohio somewhere, being used for whatever. Doesn't matter. This is ridiculous. And you would think, as a country like America, we should be on top of this. But see, the sad part about it, we don't want to. These people are purposefully allowing this to happen for the greater good for them. And it's amazing, man. This right up under our nose. So many Americans are blind to this. They have no idea this stuff is going on.
And again, I should point out for the record the fact that you release these folks, these kids, to sponsors that are in the country illegally.
Oh.
By definition, they have already broken the law.
Well, there you have it, y'all. These kids ain't going to some nice granny from down south. Yes, baby. Come on in. Grandma cook you some biscuits, some collard greens, some fat bats, and all of that. I know we don't speak the same language, but we sure enough know how to speak good. That's what we both know. No, that's not what's happening. You're sending them to already criminals. You're recycling stuff. You're like, all right, we're going to get you guys in, and here's what we're going to do. Once you guys get in illegally, we're going to send you some more illegally, some illegal immigrants, some kids. And then if you want, you can send those kids right back and recycle them, and we'll send them right back to you and list you as a sponsor. This is crazy, man. Once again, someone go get my boot. Ma, go get my boot, my butt kicking boot. Good grief.
Is it the standard operating policy to release children into the hands of sponsors in households that haven't been properly vetted
Of course.
and
For
that
the
are
Bidens.
here in the country illegally?
Yeah.
I think I heard a question there, and so I'll try to respond because you packed a lot in there, a lot which I think has a
You hear this smug son of a gun? I think I heard a question in there. No, you heard a question. Yeah, you heard some statements and some questions. What you did is you felt some slaps all upside that head of yours. That's what you felt. Now you're going to try to come in with a condescending response. I would think your butt would be humble, but I think it was a question. And it's crazy to me because it appears that these people are operating like this after what she pointed out with no conscience. No conscience. They know all this stuff is going on. Maybe it's one of those things where, hey, out of sight, out of mind. Yo, the goal right now is just bring me. That's why I don't like going down, visiting the border. That's why I don't like hearing from the agents telling me about this. That's why I don't like when people come up to Congress and give us these examples of how horrible things are at the border. I don't like that. Maybe they like, I just don't even want to see it. I'm going to break the border, but I don't want to look at my work, see? Because if I have to go down there and see little kids floating down the river, it might bust me up on the inside because I'm responsible for it. If I have to go down there and look in the back of a truck and see that hundreds of folks that done died from heat exhaustion, it might remind me that I'm a part of that. I'm a serial killer. I'm an accomplice. That's what I am. So I'm going to stay my butt up in Washington and blow smoke up everybody's butt. It is the job of the Homeland Security, the men and women, the brave men, and all of that crap. Maybe they need to go down there and clean up some bodies and all of that. So here his butt goes.
a lot of misinformation. that I disagree with.
Misinformation.
I could first start by saying that we do go through a thorough process on assessment of the child
Don't
when
let
the
him
child
get
first
away with
comes
it.
to our attention.
Don't let him
So
get
that
away
What is
with
your
thorough-
I'm sorry, I'm going to reclaim my time. Secretary, what is your definition of thorough?
I mentioned it in a previous.
Does it include
response.
a DNA test?
An assessment of the child's.
No, that is not my question. My question is,
Oh, yes. Yes. Get him, girl. Beat Barabbas' tail. Because he started off with the little different disinformation. And see, I hate when they sling that mess out. It disgusts me. There's a lot of dis and misinformation in that statement, and I disagree with. You can't disagree with those facts. What are you talking about? Dis and misinformation. She just ripped off the facts and the stats. And here he is talking about this and misinformation, and we do a thorough background like they always do. A general thorough background check. How about I see a rubric? How about I see step by step by step by step? That's what I want to see. Or keep moving on. That's what you need to do. Keep moving on if you can't give me a step-by-step process. So you want to generalize it, and I fill in the blanks in my head. But what she did is stopped him right there in his tracks. Don't give me that. Don't define that. I want to know what you look at. What's your view of thorough? Same thing when they throw out dis and misinformation. Stop. What is dis and misinformation? Define it, please. Oh, well, it is the purpose, foreign actors trying, all of that crap. So they want to just brush you off, and she ain't having it. Get your tail back over on those ropes.
does it include a DNA test? Yes or no?
DNA is one of the tools that we use
One,
on
just
occasion.
In only 9% of the cases. Does it
It is
include a
tool that
background
we
check?
use. We do.
See, when you got skills as a fighter, you already know. She anticipated that. He would have loved for her to not point out that that's only 9%. And he thought we didn't catch it when he said, in some cases. Well, how many cases? See, you want us to assume that, oh, it's done all the time, most of the time. No, it's not. When you said some cases, she had the data. That's how you whoop their tails. 9%, is that a lot to you? Is that thorough to you? Unbelievable. How many games you ever win? 9% of 100. Wow, you guys suck. Well, yeah, but it is thorough. We're winning. We're winning sometimes. How? What's sometimes? 9% at a time? You suck.
a number of things to go through, a series of tests and assessments of a child when we get them. We do
And
the
a
same
background
type
check
of
in only 23% of the cases. And the DNA, by the way, that you rely on in your ORR case managers, if you could please pull up Exhibit 2.
No, Barabbas, get out of there. Get out of there, Barabbas. Oh, man. I tell you, man, you got to have gonads to come up there and withstand these type of beatings. She just straight up said, look, man, you're not going to get me with the shifty talking, dropping general stuff out there. We do a thorough background check. We look into stuff, and we have steps and processes. And they said, oh, really? 9% of those tests. And as a matter of fact, let me show you something else here that I can slap your face with.
This shows that the DNA requirements that you rely on in the case files, I realize this is a CBP document, but this memo is something that is really important for what we're talking about because so much of the case files that your case managers rely on in vetting these thorough checks, they've suspended the DNA requirement. I'm out of time.
Oh, my. Well, how do you explain that, Barabbas? So all of these kids, y'all are making it easier and easier for these kids to be trafficked. Suspending DNA tests. No need to do it. Trust me, they look the same. Same complexion, same hair coloring. So I'm pretty good. I'm a DNA expert. I don't need to. I just suck my thumb. Stay right there. Stand still. Okay. You see the similarities? I do. I think so. Yeah. Good. Okay. All right. Yeah, pretty sure. There is a little height difference, but you know what? Never mind. You're good. Go ahead. That's how they're figuring it out. This guy needs to be thrown in someone slammer. If we were to really get down to all of the dirty planning that went into doing this by design, on purpose, knowing that these people are malicious. They're doing this maliciously. They're strategically breaking our border, knowing the consequences, and they accept it. They're okay with that. Then when obstacles pop up, they do things like, let's make it easier for these people to be corrupt, not just to get here, but by doing that, making it easier for them to come, you're also making it easier for them to commit crimes. You're making it easier for them to kidnap kids, to kidnap women, to rape kids, to do all of the stuff that they claim, no, that's not happening. They're all coming here with their families for a better life. As we saw in my last show, that better life happened to show up in Chicago, and they're up there fighting with the black folks that they shoved all of these young men into their neighborhoods. See, so they're not coming for a better life. They're coming because these funky Democrats brought them here, and now all of a sudden you got all of this carnage. And boy, the next regime, I hope Trump wins and clean this mess all the way up, starting with the people who broke it. Investigate their tails. What made you think it was a smart idea to stop stay in Mexico? Who signed that? Who made that decision? I don't want to hear it was a group decision. It was all of us got the inside processes, and the way we determine this is I don't want to hear that. Somebody need to get in there and find out who's responsible. I don't want to hear we all thought of it. We all came up with this. I want to say, hey, are you the guy that said from now on asylum also includes gang violence? Are you the guy who said that? You can't tell me multiple people was able to make that decision. Are you the guy that came up with the idea that these folks don't have to stop at the first country, but they could walk through 3 or 4 countries to get to our border and come in? Are you the guy? Because if you're not the guy, show me where the guy is, or else I'm assuming you are. And when I put the heat down on you, you better go ahead and give me the big guy, somebody. And I ain't talking about creepy. That dude don't know what's going on. Yes, that's right. I'm corrupt. Just tell me what I just said, and I'll say it. So now, y'all.
You want to answer the question anyway and deviate from your carefully crafted talking points, but I think this is disgusting that 85,000 children are missing.
85,000.
And it's on your watch.
On his watch.
With that, I yield.
yields back. Now,
that man lost 85,000 kids. 85,000 kids. Somebody should be accountable for that. See, I mean, these folks come up there and they'll just say, our immigration system's been broken for years and it's something we're all struggling with and all. No. On these people's watch, they messed around and opened up a can of worms that at this point, it looked like they can't even shut. So we got 85,000 missing kids. We have over 800 and something thousand gotaways that we know of. We don't even know if some of them were terrorists. I mean, this is such a mess right now. I want to put both feet and both fists up each and every one of their butts. They are garbage, man. Speaking in which, this guy. So let's see what they're doing to Donald Trump nowadays. And listen to this confession, because Joe is dumb and he always confess his crimes like he did. Son of a gun, they fired that prosecutor. He gets on TV and he boasts about things. Like he got there on TV and was talking about something. We put together the most comprehensive voter fraud. Yeah, he often does that. So now here he is, prior to all of these indictments, talking about how he gonna stop Trump. Not stop Trump by winning an election. Not stop Trump by beating him fair and square. But listen to what Creepy says.
Your predecessor, who is about to launch another campaign. So how do you reassure them, if that is the reason for their questioning, the former president will not return, or that his political movement, which is still very strong, will not again take power?
Oh, really? Yeah. See, this right here is his way of compensating, because he knows it's strong. Oh, really? You know it. That's why y'all got to go through all these efforts to stop him. If it wasn't strong, then leave the man be. If he ain't really polling at a high number, how about you fighting fair and square? Don't sit back and tell me, man, I whoop that dude's butt. I beat his tail anytime, any day. But I ain't going to even let him fight, though. I'm going to sabotage it so he can't even get in the ring with me. But if he's so sorry and, and I can whoop his tail, then let's see it, man. But these Democrats are not about going toe to toe. They know they can't beat Trump up front. So what do? Trumped up charges. Now, here's a man who's supposed to say, yeah, if he's going to launch his campaign, fine, I don't care. I'll see him at the polls. But no, we don't even want you to get to the polls. And listen what he says he's going to do to stop it.
United States.
Well, we just have to demonstrate that he will not take power.
Oh, how?
By,
through our regular process, through our democratic process, through our process of them becoming a candidate and letting the people make the choice and decide. Is that how it? I guess that's how it's supposed to work, right? Creepy, right? But no.
If he does run, making sure he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again.
I mean,
Y'all hear that? Is that the way it's supposed to work? When is the last time you heard a president say that? When somebody says, hey, man, somebody's supposed to be running now. What do you think about that? Well, we're going to have to make sure they don't run. Not don't win. Don't run. You hear that. You do realize what that man confessed. If that is not some type of motive for him to sig the DOJ and all these prosecutors on Trump with all these bootleg charges that keeps popping up, that right there is a confession. That right there is a good, legitimate argument as he goes to court over all this stupid stuff. Just play that clip. Just say, hey, look, you got the man over the DOJ, over the executive branch right here saying that he's going to make sure he uses his resources to stop Trump from running, not winning, running. I think that's motive. See, so if that man said that, then how about you just work your way down? The people right up under him. What are they doing to make sure what he just said happens? Huh?
He just said the quiet part out loud. You heard it yourself.
I did.
We need to make sure that he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again. He said the quiet part out loud. You and I, as far as Biden and the deep state are concerned, you and I no longer choose who the president will be.
I know we all.
See? Man, I like choosing my president for a couple years, I thought that that's what I was doing. Thought I was voting, thought my vote was going to count and stuff. Now I found out that it's these bums. See, they got caught slipping, 6 years ago when Trump won? Got caught slipping. Yeah, got exposed. They got overconfident on their ability to decide who really wins and who loses. So they thought it was a home run. We ain't even got to put all of the corrupt efforts into this one. Trump's going to get blasted. Yeah, we'll actually let it operate like it's supposed to and see what happens. We never done this. Yes, this is a new experiment. Let's see just what happens when we just leave our hands off of things. What? Holy moly, maybe we should have fixed it like we were, you know what? It's not my fault. See, so now you have them talking about we got to stop Trump. And they've been doing a heck of a job trying to do that. Starting with this bum. Y'all see this one? You see? Do you see this? Another Barabbas slash dang on, what's his name? Judas. You see Judai right there? So let's see the gray-haired slime ball Judas make this statement back in the day.
We all got our doubts about the last election. And I want to assure you, I share the concerns of millions of Americans about voting irregularities. And I promise you, come this Wednesday, we'll have our day in Congress. We'll hear the objections. We'll hear the evidence.
Yeah, this was right before he stabbed Trump and all of us right in our back. We'll hear the objections. I promise you. Slimy politician. He's the stereotypical slimy politician. I wish when that fly landed on his head, it would have took the biggest doo-doo right there on national TV. So now let's hear what Judas is saying currently.
And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is! Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the title?
I'm sure many.
I feel you. Perfect clip. Perfect clip to describe how all of us felt after this bum betrayed us all. And now that Trump has been indicted for the third time, for some reason, Mike Pence is under the delusion that Republican base still likes him. We still respect him for some reason. Do you understand the delusion or just straight up testes to say Trump has this popularity from all of the voters? I betrayed Trump and all of those voters, but I'm going to come out now and run against Trump, hoping all of those voters will forget that I betrayed Trump and them. And I'm going to act like I got a legitimate chance. Surely they'll forget about it and forgive that and look at me as a good, upstanding Republican candidate, right?
Many of you have already heard about his ridiculously repulsive response to this latest sham indictment against President Trump on J6. Again, an indictment for charges, ironically, Trump was already acquitted of by the United States Senate. Now Pence could have easily said that.
Could have.
He could have easily said, yo, we've been there. We've done this. The U.S. Senate over which I presided. We've already tried this matter. It's over. Move on. But no, that's not what he said.
He didn't?
If you didn't catch it, here was Pence's response to what is most obviously a totally weaponized sham indictment. Today's indictment serves as an important reminder. Anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president.
Did you hear that, man? Now, you would think he would go somewhere and sit down. Who in the world recommended that he come out with that statement? Do you understand how that ticked off all of Trump supporters and folks that might even still had lingering respect for him? You just flipped on Trump and tried to make it appear that this investigation and indictment is legit. You might as well be over there with Nancy Pelosi. You might as well be over there with Adam Schiff. You might as well be over there with the man prosecuting Trump and all of that stuff. You might as well be over there with them. You are done. This man is done. He should go somewhere and move his whole family to a remote island and just live off the fat of the land. Okay. Nobody wants to see his face around. Nobody wants to hear him come up and speak and none of that. That dude's done. So he takes the side of the corrupt prosecution of Trump. Okay. And he thinks that's going to fare well for him. Well, let's see how fair it fell. I mean, how well it fared. There you go.
Now, obviously, Twitter exploded over this. Okay, I'll give you just a sample of the savaging that Pence got. Turd, one of my favorites. Good morning to everyone except used car salesman, phony, Ukraine first, backstabber, fake Christian loser Mike Pence.
Oh.
Sheriff Clark. Pence is committing political suicide. Somebody take the knife away from him as he slits his throat. Eric Spracklin, Mike Pence is a caricature of everything that is wrong with the GOP. Rhino traitor scumbag. Glad he's getting absolutely and rightfully crushed on Twitter tonight. Never turn your back on the people who made you.
Like, what did he think would happen when he put that out there? First of all, what kills me is I'm sick of these people trying to analyze this as if this is a legitimate indictment. See, you don't even entertain this as legit. You should mock it. We all know this is not a real legitimate investigation or an indictment. This is all an attempt to stop Donald Trump. Now, these people get on TV and pretend like this is legit. Sitting there talking about now, the charges are actually very substantial and we're going to have to see. And if the president, and I'm saying, this is not a real legitimate investigation or an indictment. This is a hit job. And the sooner we all recognize it and call it for what it is, we can address it just like that. I'm not going to give it some legitimate response or try to psychoanalyze the charges when I know these charges are fabricated. They have contorted all this garbage to try to fit going after Trump over some bootleg stuff. So it's bootleg, but Mike Pence tries to pretend it is serious and throws that up there. And I bet you he's wondering why these people are saying these harsh things to him, especially this last one, y'all. Listen to this. He got real creative. This is Kevin's style of going in.
Robbie Starbuck, did you get paid in silver or cash? And my all-time favorite from Larry Schweikert. What a thoroughly evil, deceptive, deceitful, pus-bellied, schnock-dockered, ibex-raping, snot-swallowing, chode-gathering, scabber-collating, useless, weenieless, clueless, honorless, worm-riddled piece of anal tissue.
Another troubling.
Yes! He nailed that landing. Whoever that dude was right there on that tweet nailed it. I'm like, this routine of trashing Mike Pence is amazing. I've never seen anything like it. Look at the execution. Wow, the level of difficulty and the creativity. Now it's coming down to the landing. If he could just stick this will be a magnanimous performance. Oh my God, he stuck the landing. This is amazing. We're witnessing history here. Pandemonium. That man just ripped off so many adjectives to describe Mike Pence. I hope Mike Pence sticks his head right between his legs and never bring it out again. So now let's get into how dangerous what is taking place is for our country.
Trump indictment, Special Counsel Jack Smith's broad authority of fraud has dangerous implications. Here's the key line they talk about. It's kind of a political question. You don't have to be a defender of Donald Trump to worry about where this will lead. Call for number 2. Thank you, guys. It makes any future election challenges, however valid, legally vulnerable to a partisan prosecutor. Democrats want Mr. Trump to be the Republican nominee, and Mr. Smith, whether he intends it or not, is making that outcome more likely.
Well, that's an excellent question because, quite frankly, we are in perilous times.
Oh, yes.
I mean, the public has lost its faith in the Department of Justice, has lost its faith in Congress, even the courts. And we were hoping, at least I was, that if there was an indictment coming, it would be based on really unquestioned legal authority and unassailable new evidence.
Nah, that's not the Democrat style. You think they coming with some real legitimate evidence and facts? No. They make up facts and then deny real facts. So now all of the evidence with Hunter Biden and Creepy Sleepy Joe, they're trying to write that off as random phone calls that happened at least 20 times during business meetings where Joe Biden talked about the weather and stuff. And there's nothing tying Joe Biden to his son's business deals except for all the money transactions and the phone calls and the statements and stuff and the whistleblowers. But other than that, there's nothing to see here. And then with Trump, make up stuff. Trump launched an insurrection. He told him to go over there and start killing folks and hang Mike Pence and all this stuff. Well, he didn't really say that? Wow. Are you sure? Is that a fact? He didn't? He didn't? Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. We don't need facts. We use lies to substitute facts. Unreal. So now we're looking at them creating a precedent that would allow any politician who allegedly lies about something that could have led to people believing that lie and acting inappropriately, then you can be prosecuted for lying about something. You pick it. Because if we're going to go ahead and introduce this into our society, then everybody in Congress needs to go somewhere and sit down because all of them should be prosecuted, starting with the whole dang Democrat Party. So let's see how this all falls into place with Trump and these lies he's told, I guess.
Neither is contained in this second indictment. Now, maybe Smith can get some of these co-conspirators to flip. Maybe they could offer new evidence.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to try to do. That's why he went and got broad and start dragging in a whole bunch of people because, see, Trump has the pockets to be able to withstand the prolonged investigation and all of that. But what you do is you drag a bunch of people who had nothing to do with this, really didn't do nothing, wasn't no coordination, wasn't no planned whatever, but you sweat them. You tap their pockets. You drag it out. You threaten them with all kind of stuff and hope that one of them will sell Trump out and then say, well, yeah, he kind of knew. Well, what do you mean he kind of knew? I was sitting next to him and somebody said, Trump, you lost. You know that, right? And I think I heard him say, yeah, but. What do you mean? Yeah, but. Yeah, but I don't see it that way. Huh? So we don't want to know the rest of that comment. You heard it right there. He said, Trump said, yeah. They'll do something like that. Bring in somebody that will say something stupid like he said, yeah. And you find out he said, yeah, but I don't see it that way. That is how corrupt these people are. So they'll pressure these people, threaten to destroy their lives like they did George Papadopoulos, Carter Page, like they do all the people that have, whatever, for whatever reason, wanted to support Trump. They go after them and say, let's get them, beat up on them, tap their pockets, and hopefully get one of them to come out and lie about it. But hopefully these people got some spines like Roger Stone or like Mike Flynn and say, I'll just go down with the ship. But I'm not going to lie about what took place.
But they don't do it here. And the question we come back to is, when is the price too high to bag Donald Trump? You know, when Smith filed the first indictment, many of us said that it was a strong indictment. It's a serious threat to the former president.
That was garbage too.
This is different. And I think that people have to really ask when that price is too high. Free speech defines us as a nation. This is a free speech killing case.
Yeah. And the Democrats and the left are okay with that. As Buckwheat say, hi, I'm Buckwheat. Okay. They're okay with that. That price is nothing to them because they don't value free speech. If you don't value something, you give it away easily. They're like, so what, man? You know, we've been trying to destroy free speech, period, because we operate corruptly. See, free speech is a threat to our style, to our plan, to our corruption. It exposes it. So if people are allowed to see it for what it is and say it for what it is and call it out, then that's a threat. We need free speech gone. Oh, don't forget those guns too. Yeah, those guns too. So freedom of speech and get those guns, and then we can go ahead and run the table. That's what they're on. So when it comes down to, you know, what price is too high to pay for them, there is no high price. That's why they allow all these illegal immigrants to get trafficked and kids to get shuffled around and all of this. They don't care about that stuff. That's why they're okay with all the black kids in the black neighborhoods getting shot every weekend in their SO ran cities. They're okay with that stuff. There is no too far for them. There is no, wow, that price is too high to pay. Unless it comes down to their raggedy, stinking, crackhead kids or their own careers and power. Then all of a sudden, pump your brakes, kid. But hey, anybody else is free game.
And we need to deal with those implications.
It's described in the indictment. It was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant, targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election.
Good luck proving it. So this whole thing right here, this indictment, is based on Trump knowing that he really lost, but he just couldn't take it, y'all. And so what he decided to do is come out and say, well, even though I know I lost, I'm going to tell everybody I didn't. And then hopefully they'll get mad and launch an insurrection and stop the voting process. That right there is one of the biggest lies ever. Right there, this man actually got the gall to try to bring this to court. And I'm sitting here thinking, are you kidding me? You think Trump's the only one that thought that he won? We all did, and we still do. I haven't ran across a Republican that voted for Trump yet that does not feel as if we were robbed. And it didn't take Trump to convince me of that. See, so now what they got to do is try to prove that Trump really didn't know that he really did know that he lost, but he went out and maliciously and purposefully lied and said, "Nah, I won." That's not his style. But we're going to show you the style of people who do that on purpose. Yeah, we're going to show you that in a few seconds.
Wow. I took a read through the indictment. We've got a 45-page indictment, 4 counts, 6 unnamed co-conspirators.
Yeah,
I'm very curious what's going to happen. Are these 6 unnamed co-conspirators eventually going to get charged? Is the prosecution going to potentially use these co-conspirators to flip on President Trump? And, whoever gets to the table first gets the best deal? I'm not certain of that. But what I can tell you is that the defense is, first of all, probably going to file a motion to dismiss the case. And if that doesn't happen, they'll also probably try to change the venue. We know that this is going to be charged. This has been charged out of the Washington, D.C. area. That is not a favorable area for President Trump. And, the jury pool there is not going to be in his favor, and the judge is definitely not going to be in his favor either.
You see what they're doing? You see how they're sitting back thinking, y'all like, okay, all right, everybody knows this is bootleg and garbage, but boy, we can get away with that garbage if we have it in Washington, D.C., because those people don't think with their brains. Yeah, they're all suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, and even though the facts would be stacked totally up against finding Trump guilty, they'll do it just like they did crooked Hillary Clinton's lawyer, where obviously this man lied to the FBI, but they had the trial in Washington and he walks out like, "Thank you, America's the greatest country on the planet. Didn't do nothing. I was found innocent like I already knew." It was DC. Now, you think Trump would have a legitimate shot up in DC? Absolutely not. And it comes down to this, Jesse, because Jesse points out something. So we're going to go ahead and have to go back in time to see how many of these people who maliciously lied, or it found out eventually that what they said was a lie, how many of these people we got to go prosecute. Somebody go get the book of indictments, because we're going to need it. We're going to need a whole book, a whole heap of indictments coming up after this. Watch this.
Saying lying about an election is illegal. Well, then Hillary, lock her up.
Cue music.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
What? I'm taking names. So, indictment for...
How can you win with Russian interference, though?
That's
what
real
I'm
thing.
scared about in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
Chameleon?
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Would you be my vice presidential candidate?
Crooked.
Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
And
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put in office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
2 for crooked.
Elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate. I don't see this. President.
Just say Democrats. Whole Democrat Party.
You said you believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
Who's this?
I do. We have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
Wow. Listen to all of that. Now, do you think they all believed it? Do you think these people really thought Trump was assisted by Russia and this and this and that? They all knew it was a hoax. Starting off with the first person, corrupt Hillary Clinton, who maliciously put together that Russia collusion hoax and spreaded it. And every Democrat fell right in line and spreaded those lies. And guess what that led to? All of those Antifians and Black Lives Matters and angry folks suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, taken to the streets, looting, threatening the White House, all of that stuff, burning down stuff. It led to all of that carnage. So, Jack Smith, if that's the new standard, backdate all of those lies. And look what all of those lies led to. 4 years of nothing but combativeness in the streets, folks screaming, folks going around with sticks all over the place, and we need to take the country back because Trump stole it. The Russians are involved. They felt like they had an illegitimate president in the White House. Therefore, that gave them a green light to go out and protest in any form or fashion. Now, these people did that because they really believed Trump was illegitimate. Now, here's the crazy part about that. We know that Joe is illegitimate. But we're not doing that. Now, isn't that ironic? We know this dude is a Manchurian candidate just stuck up in that White House. If anybody had a real reason to go and start tearing up cities, burning down stuff, harassing folks and stuff, it should be us. But we're waiting to let the process work it out. And if we don't see that these people allow a fair and legitimate election coming up, which we see they're not doing it by going after Trump over stupid stuff like this, how do you even account for watching these clips right here of these Democrats doing all of that? How do you even say that, yep, prosecuting Trump based off of what I just said here is Jack Smith? How can you square that and say, but what these people did is different? They'll try. But when you play a montage like this in court and you say, okay, so what you're telling me is Trump knew he lost, but he lied about it and said, no, I legitimately won. And by him saying that, his believers bought into it. And that's what led to J6. Then how do you square this?
Thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is
So
that
crooked.
finally
She's
we
so
will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
I have an objection. I object to
Poodle up
15
top.
votes from the state of North Carolina. I object because people are horrified.
Y'all hear that? That's a real legitimate reason to object to a certified election, y'all. I am here to object because people are horrified. There you go. See? Those are real legitimate reasons to say that, you know, we should not go ahead and square this whole election. I mean, it's obvious. The people are horrified. There you go. Trump should not become president because people are horrified.
Illegitimate president.
Do you believe Trump is a legitimate president?
What I believe is that there's no question that the outcome of this election was affected by the Russian interference.
Liar!
There absolutely is a cloud of illegitimacy.
So that legitimacy is
Liars!
in question, yes. So that was a very tainted election. And in that sense, it's illegitimate.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you?
Because he knows he didn't.
What? Somebody go get some fire for those dang on suit pants that she be wearing. Fire for those liars on those suit pants legs. Fire, fire. Liar, liar, pants on fire. So now here he knows he's illegitimate. Wow. Did she ever come back out and make a confession that she lied about that? Did she ever reverse that? Did she ever come out and say, you know what, my bad, y'all. I called that one wrong. I spent 4 years running around telling everybody Trump's illegitimate. He's not a real president. And I never retracted that. But yet I'm okay with seeing this guy talk about Trump never accepted the results of the election. And he lied. He lied about it. So therefore, we're going to go ahead and prosecute this dude. How can you do that? Somebody should show this in court. When Jack Smith walks in, the first thing they should do is pop this reel in and say, here's all these Democrats saying Trump was illegitimate. Jack Smith, do you believe Trump was illegitimate? Well, I'm not here to try that. No. If you can't sit back and tell me that those people are lying and Trump was legit, then how can you prosecute Trump? Because these people lied.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
Stolen emails, stolen drone, stolen
That's
election.
Korean. Black gay drop.
Welcome to the world of unprecedented Trump.
So do you believe President Trump is an illegitimate president?
Go ahead.
Based on what I just said, which I can't retract.
The Russian attempt to have the election. And frankly, the FBI is weighing in on the election.
Unbelievable. You see Bad Body Nadler right there? The Russians hacked the election. What does that mean? Hack the election. Have you ever seen an election hacked? I've seen voting machines hacked, but hack the election. They just sling stuff out there. Because look what network he's on, CNN. They don't care. Because then soon as he gets off, there you have it. Trump hacked the election. Him and Russia, that's both coordinated this. He knows that he's an illegitimate president. They spent all their 4 years lying about Trump not being legitimate. And now they're saying this man needs to be put in jail because he don't believe that Joe Biden is legitimate. But you want us to take this indictment seriously. And I'm not going to do it. I'm going to look at this for what it is, election interference, and a cheap, stinking, corrupt way to go after Trump, override our regular process, put y'all butts back in power, okay, and then come after the people. That's what this is.
I think makes his election illegitimate.
There was a widespread
Look at them lying eyes.
understanding that
You see those lying eyes about to pop out? It's hard to keep your eyes in your socket when it's so much lies in your head. Those lies are forcing them eyes out. About to pop out and hit the screen, man. Those demonic eyes. Yeah, you got nothing but demons all up in those eyes right there. Dang on it. I'm surprised they don't start spinning around in her head. Unbelievable. Whole neck rotates around. Talking about, get out, I won. Spitting up green stuff.
This election was not on the level. We still don't know what really happened, Isaac.
Pure
There's just a lot that I think will be revealed, history will discover, but you don't win by 3 million votes and have all this other shenanigans stuff going on.
Wait a minute. How in the world then can you square Joe Biden somehow getting 81 million votes from dead folks? It's the thriller. All those corpses jumped up and went down there like, I'm here to vote. All of those corpses, all of those folks who switched and went to other states, but somehow was still voting in their state. I don't know. Yeah, how'd that happen? All of these shenanigans that went on. But here she is talking about that. There were so many things, lots of shenanigans surrounding that. But now when it comes down to Joe and Creepy and all of that stuff, it was the most safest election ever. Nothing to see there. That right there was a perfect election. No need to question it. No wonder they stifled any legitimate investigations. And then Mike Pence's raggedy tail went up there and sanctioned this mess.
And not come away with an idea like, whoa, something's not right here.
The outcome of the election was affected by their interference, and now we need to know, to what degree, if any, the Trump campaign was actually in collusion with with Russia.
He knows.
So wait, we're not allowed to question those things? We can't do it. We are not allowed to question the man boarding up the windows. We're not allowed to question it. We're not allowed to question why 2 voting locations decided to shut down in the middle of the night when Trump was winning. Then the next day, just came back online and Creepy was winning somehow. But we can't question that. We're not allowed to question what our eyes saw down there in Atlanta when all those people spent the night swiping, and pull out all those big old barrels and start to swiping. We're not allowed to question Ilhan Omar and her campaign manager going around on video getting caught paid for votes. We're not allowed to question those things. Now imagine if you set up a process that says, hey, when we win, you can never ever question the legitimacy of our win, or else it could be putting people in danger. But when we lose, we'll question everything about the legitimacy of that, and nothing will happen to us. That's exactly what they're trying to do. These dirtbags.
He's an illegitimate president. So of course he's obsessed with me. And I believe that it's a guilty conscience.
We actually won the last presidential election, folks. They stole the last presidential election.
Liars.
Won that election. I think he won it anyway.
Actually, I think I carried Florida.
Bush versus Gore. A court took away a presidency.
All the votes were counted in Florida. Then Al Gore would be president today, and George Bush would be back in office.
So they want to win at the expense of exposing their hypocrisy. They all know that they're guilty of the same thing they're accusing Trump of, but just like Democrats who leave all this evidence on the internet, they don't care. They just assume their voters will overlook it. Yeah, they would assume their voters wouldn't even be able to make the connection that the very thing you're trying to try Trump for, you're guilty of. In fact, they are hoping that their voters will say, well, it's different because all of those elections that they contested, they really had a reason to, for some reason. But with Trump, because he's so evil, it's different. He didn't have the right to say that he should have won and he felt that the election was fixed. It's different. They won't even catch that. They probably think these people had legitimate reasons to claim that the election was won and lost, rather, and they really won it. They probably think that. They're hoping that that's what would happen. But if people got any brain cells, they'll see that this is a game the Democrats have been playing for years. They are willing to threaten their whole game. They're willing to threaten a part of their strategy. This is built into their party. When they lose every election, they do the same stuff. Now, if they set this precedent that when you lose and disagree, then you could be prosecuted by some random prosecutor in some state who says, oh, well, you know what, you're not allowed to contest the legitimacy of an election now. So we're going to indict you for your personal beliefs, or whether you're lying or not, we're going to indict you. These people are stupid, but it's all worth it for them. They're like, yo, if we got to do that, we got to do it. We cannot let this dude win.
Come from Florida, where you and others participated in what I call the United States coup d'etat.
There's no doubt in my mind that Al Gore was elected president.
I rise to object to the fraudulent 25 Florida electoral votes.
I must object
That was
because
Mad
of
Max.
overwhelming evidence of official misconduct. Deliberate
The
fraud
chair,
and an attempt
the
to
chair
suppress
must remind
It is signed by myself on behalf of my diverse constituents and the millions of Americans who have been disenfranchised by Florida's inaccurate vote count. The Supreme Court, not the people of the United States, decided this election.
Speaking to a Democratic group in Chicago Tuesday, he made it clear he thinks Al Gore was the winner.
By the time it was over, our candidate had won the popular vote, and the only way they could win the election was to stop the voting in Florida.
Is it too late? Is it too late to get some indictments going for these people? Can we backdate these indictments right there? Get me the indictment truck, and I will go door to door like the ice cream man. Indictments. Throwing them out. Throwing them out to all of these people on video. Illegitimate. You know what? It was fixed. It was rigged. It was illegitimate. Unbelievable.
Harris, Jeb Bush, Jim Baker, and the Supreme Court hadn't tampered with the results, Al Gore would be president.
The Supreme Court elected the president.
Who else?
Al
Who
Gore
else would
won
be
the state of
president?
Florida in 2000, although not the presidency.
But the Supreme Court tampered? That's a large charge. The Supreme Court stopped the counting of the votes, and if they'd let the count go on, Al Gore would have got the necessary votes.
The Supreme Court selected George W. Bush.
What? So it went from Russia to the Supreme Court? Now, how do you think this is going to fare if it goes all the way to the Supreme Court? After these people are notorious for blaming everybody but themselves, blaming everybody but their raggedy candidates, blaming everybody but their bootleg policies. Yeah, they cannot fathom how anybody would not vote for the Democrat Party. So when they lose, they want to point the finger and not the thumb. Yeah, so it was the Supreme Court. Now, if they drag this all the way to the Supreme Court, it's going to get blasted. But imagine all of the money and time and lives that's going to be damaged by them dragging this all the way up to the Supreme Court, only for them to say, what are y'all talking about? That's freedom of speech. Y'all had an impeachment over this, and the man was found not guilty. He was acquitted. You have no evidence of him even mentioning violence, nothing. In fact, you have the contrary to that. In fact, you got him on video saying, let your voices peacefully be heard. Then he comes out and tells the people to go home, tells the people not to hurt the police. He offered Nancy Pelosi 10,000 guards, but they turned it down. And you're trying to suggest that this man launched an insurrection? He inspired this? He encouraged this? You have no evidence. You have no conversations. You don't have no email exchanges. And here you are dragging other co-conspirators in for some reason. What conspiracy are you trying to put together here, man? So let's see, because all of these people need indictments, in my opinion.
As the president, he was not elected.
There is overwhelming evidence that Bush did not win this election.
What I observed as a voter, as a citizen of Illinois, 4 years ago, were troubling evidence of the fact that not every vote was being counted.
I don't think that George W. Bush won the election in 2000 against Al Gore, because I think he probably lost Florida and also that nationwide.
If you invite me back on this show in about 8 weeks, I think you're going to learn that Al Gore actually did get all the votes.
I'm running out of indictment
Supporting
papers.
formation of the popular will. The most
Who do I
spectacular
top?
example being Bush versus Gore, where the majority by a 5-4 vote enjoined the counting of more than 100,000 ballots in Florida and essentially gave America its first court-appointed president.
I think in 2000, everybody thought, well, he did win the election, Al Gore.
After the election, when you stole the election.
Stolen election, y'all. Woo! They spreading all of these lies all over the internet. Knew they were lies, too. Knew they were lies. Yeah, that was her whole goal, is to come out and lie about that mess. Get the people all mad and upset over some lies. These people are responsible for some of the worst things that ever happened to our country because of their need for greed and power and all of that stuff. When they lie to their people and then their people get upset and react to the lies because for whatever reason, they don't have the ability to process reality, use common sense, and realize they're manipulating them. If that was the case, we should be doing the same thing. They respond to lies and go and tear up stuff and run around screaming up at the sky talking about why. We react to real lies by saying, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to call it out. I'm going to speak out about it, but I'm not going to go and start harassing people in restaurants. I'm not going to be like, well, you're a fascist and punching people just because they got a Joe Biden shirt on. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait for the next election and hope that they correct this mess and we have a legitimate election. We're not responding like all of these folks did to their lies down throughout the years. Now it's coming down to an election that we're hoping that we have a fair shot. And we're seeing that they're trying to take it from us right before our eyes, before the election process even starts, by coming up with this bootleg indictment.
You came back here and said, get over it. No, we're not going to get over it.
You know it, I know it, they know it. We won that election.
Constantly shifting vote tallies in Ohio and malfunctioning electronic machines, which may not have paper receipts, have led to additional loss of confidence by the public.
Now, let me ask you all something. Imagine if Trump was the president and his DOJ start dropping all of these indictments down on Biden or on any Democrat that was about to run, just dropping them one after another. How do you think their voters would respond? I mean, because we've been sitting here watching this happen month after month, all of these indictments. I don't have no record of us going and trying to burn down stuff or tear up stuff or riot or, show up at people's house at night and keep them up and screaming and stuff. Their voters would go crazy. If Trump was doing this and allowing his DOJ to do this to Biden, leading up to him even launching his campaign, their voters would go absolutely berserk. If they had Trump on video talking about, well, we're going to use everything within our constitutional power to make sure he doesn't run. Their voters would be running around. They would be attacking the White House. They would be up there talking about this right here is fascism. They would be trying to jump that fence. And the Democrats would be sitting there going, maybe there will be violence in the streets. Who knows? They would encourage all of that mess. You wouldn't see no FBI locking them up. You wouldn't see no prosecutors talking about these people right here are violent and they're insurrectionists and they're dangerous to our society. They wouldn't see that. You would see them using these voters who are ignorant as battering rams, using them as pawns, all of that. So we're sitting here seeing them do that to us, and we're going, it's okay. People, relax. Don't go out and do what they do. Just relax. Hopefully this will work itself out. But I don't know if I could take another one of those blatant robberies of our presidency here. See, that's the problem. We're coming down to the stretch, and this one is important. And they're blatantly starting already. And it's not going to get easier. It's not going to start becoming more settled. If they're at the point that they are now, where they are obviously trying to indict and stop this man, do you think they're worried about discretion? They don't care. At this point, they like, man, we just got to stop him. I don't care how bad we look. I don't care how many people we tick off. I don't care of the results. We have to stop him. Even if we have to overlook all of these bums doing the same thing that they're accusing Trump of.
To vote has been stolen from qualified voters.
In 2004, the democratic process was thwarted.
The 2004 presidential election in Ohio was riddled with unnecessary problems.
Some machines malfunction, causing votes to be counted more than once, or not at all.
Based upon an inordinate number of allegations suggesting gross voting rights violations and misconduct, I join with my colleagues in objecting to counting the state of Ohio's electoral votes.
As in 2000, the votes of many who wanted to vote were not, in fact, counted.
This last Friday night, I arranged to meet Senator Kerry at a fundraiser to give him a copy of my book. He told me he now thinks the election was stolen.
The wife of John Kerry said she has lingering doubts about the legitimacy of the election. Her theory goes like this. Two brothers, she calls hard right Republicans, own 80% of the voting machines in the U.S. Therefore, it would be easy to hack into the mother machines that control the electronic voting.
All of those lies. All of those lies, man. Indictments. Someone go get me the book of indictments.
There were numerous irregularities in Ohio, including large percentages of rejections of provisional balloting, problems with voting machines.
All of that.
As we look at
our election system, I think it's fair to say that there are many legitimate questions about its accuracy, about its integrity. There are still legitimate.
We're not allowed to question that, though, are we? Is that rules for me, but not for thee? Okay, wait. Can I question? I can't question. Oh, so I get my video suppressed, snatched off the internet and all that stuff if I questioned it? Because for some reason we became a banana republic overnight, and you're no longer allowed to question when the dictator wins. You're not allowed to do that anymore. Yeah, the guy that comes out there talking about these ultra MAGA folks, they're violent and extremism and all of that stuff. Yeah, they're a threat to our democracy. No, they're a threat to your lives. They're a threat to your tyranny, because we see what you guys have done and are doing. You're desperate. You know that, man, these folks, they see it, Trump sees it, and if we lose, all of them gonna put their foot up our butts. I'm gonna have a foot up the butt party. Everyone's invited. Bring your best boot, okay? Foot up butt party.
Concerns over the integrity of our elections.
I agree with tens of millions of Americans who are very worried that when they cast the ballot on an electronic voting machine, that there is no paper trail to record that vote.
What? Listen to Bernie Sanders sounding like us. Yeah, we can't question those voting machines, though. That's only for Democrat voters. They can be upset.
Numerous irregularities that occurred with the electronic voting machines in Ohio on November the 2nd
Only when
of last
Democrats
year
lose.
point to an unresolved national crisis.
We cannot declare that the election of
Mahalia
November
Jackson.
2nd, 2004 was free and clear and transparent and real. There must be independent testing of the voting machines used in Ohio.
I'm not confident that the election in Ohio was fairly decided. We know that there was substantial voter suppression, and the machines were not reliable. The members of Congress who have brought this challenge are speaking up for their aggrieved constituents, many of whom may have been disenfranchised in this process.
Treating today's electoral vote count in Congress as a meaningless...
Listen to this. We've been going now for like 6 or 7 minutes of nothing but lies. 6 and 7 minutes of evidence of these Democrats doing the exact same thing that this Jack guy is going to indict Trump for? Are you kidding me? Did Jack not see this? I will let him explain why these lies right here is different than Trump's.
This ritual would be an insult to our democracy unless we registered our own protest against the obviously
With the
flawed
suspense
voting
music in the back.
process that took place in so many of our states.
Voters who wish to cast a vote for president or vice president can't approach the polls with certainty that their vote will be counted.
One of the most significant problems in Ohio and in many other states was the lack of measures to ensure the integrity of electronic voting machines.
In 2004, they caused Democratic voters in Ohio to wait for 8 hours before they could cast their ballot.
Yeah.
They turned the Department of Civil Rights and the Justice Department into the voter suppression division with voter ID laws, voter purging, voter caging, voter intimidation. There aren't going to be any more election stealings.
And despite the final tally and the
There's Stacey Abrams.
situation we find ourselves in, I do have one very affirmative statement to make.
Oh, what? My finger don't work?
Without voter suppression,
Y'all see gap between the teeth? The person, I could stick this whole violin right through those teeth. Tap her tongue. Just like that. Without her even opening her mouth. That's how big that gap is. So here she is up there whining about she was robbed. And then here come Camellia Harris come out and blow off another lie. And nobody's taking her to jail. No indictment.
Stacey Abrams would be the governor of Georgia. Andrew Gillum is the governor of Florida. You excuse
Man, Georgia and Florida, you guys missed a bullet. Thank goodness. I can't believe Ron DeSantis ran against Trump. I really can't. Because, man, Trump helped him out. Can you imagine if Andrew Gillum would have won? Could you imagine that? That's why I'm upset with Ron, man. I'm like, you can't repay Trump by doing that to him, man. You got to be used. He helped save all those Americans from Gillum, and in Georgia missed a bullet because that chick in that purple outfit looking like Barney, right there, that big old blueberry sitting right there looking like she's smiling. I can see that gap from here, thing on it. Don't even have to zoom in. I could jump out of an airplane and parachute right between that gap and land right on her tongue. That's how big that gap is. That gap right there is so big I could do a backflip off of a building and land on her tongue, and her tongue would be like a big old balloon. There it is. That's what I could do through that big gap. Unbelievable. I'm surprised she doesn't whistle every time she talks with that gap. Nobody could close the gap. You got to be kidding me. So with that being said, I'm sorry I got caught up on the gap. Every time I see the gap, I can't let it go, man. She's better. You should be able to fix that gap, man. You don't walk around with no gap that big on purpose. All right, now let's continue.
To concede and say that you lost. Do you stand by that decision today? Absolutely. The election was not fair. The process was not fair.
If Stacey Abrams doesn't win in Georgia, they stole it. It's clear. It's clear.
I think that Stacey Abrams' election is being stolen from her.
It was not a free and fair election.
Brian Kemp stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams.
But will I say that this election was not tainted? Was not a disinvestment and a disenfranchisement?
No, what's tainted is that tongue sticking out between that gap. Dang on your mouth is dang on a mess. Dang on it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Because every time that snake tongue just keeps coming out between those two fangs and stuff. So, all right, I ain't gonna focus on the gap, okay? All right, here we go.
Thousands of voters. I will not say.
I'm sorry. I can't focus. That gap right there brought me back. The gap brought me back. Man, if I was in front of her, everything that we talk about will revolve around that gap. So anyway, I was thinking maybe you're not paying attention to me, are you? No. Why not? Is it the gap? Yes. It's the gap. I'm sorry. You have to either get that fixed or we can never talk again, okay? That's all I see. That's all I see is the gap. You know, wondering how the gap got that big. All kind of questions. I have a ton of them going through my head about that gap. Now, we're going to close with the great one. The great one is upset, and so am I. Dang on it. This is how I feel, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way. Mark, don't hold back on them. Have your way.
Trump is 76 years old. If the Department of Justice gets his way, he will die in federal prison. Just by one of these counts, conspiracy to obstruct justice, which has a 20-year maximum sentence. This is a disgusting mark on American history for the future to come by these bandits in the White House, by the Democrat Party. They don't play fair anymore. They don't want to just win elections. They want to take control of this country. They want one-party rule. And they have used the Department of Justice and the FBI to get what they want. Merrick Garland is a mob lawyer. That's what he is. Jack Reed is a rogue Soviet-style prosecutor. The Presidential Records Act is not a criminal statute, and it was never intended to be. The Espionage Act of 1917 was passed under Woodrow Wilson, another corrupt president. Woodrow Wilson used it to go after his adversaries, and they imprisoned 2,000 people. So I suppose over there at the Department of Injustice, and this clown prosecutor spent a lot of time at The Hague, they probably figured these laws could be used to try and entrap Trump. All these obstruction issues that they claim, where the former Attorney General, Bill Barr, comes up here and bloviates about it, and all the formers coming on talking about obstruction. They have them on obstruction. There'd be no obstruction issue of any kind, not even in anybody's imagination, had they not criminalized this case.
What? See, that's why they don't like the great one. That's why nobody invites the great one on their shows. Why don't The View call up him and say, would you like to come on and discuss things with the cushion and I? That man would get in there and blow up the whole View. He might shut the show down. They don't bring him on MSNBC. I mean, I'm surprised he is not a consultant for the Trump campaign or something, man, because he knows the law so well and he sees what these people are doing. So let me understand this, great one. What they've done is they have now created a new, in a sense, law. They've criminalized some things that were not criminalized so that they can go after Trump under it. It's kind of like how they also decriminalize things so they could violate some things that normally would be a violation of the law. Point in taking the dang on immigrants. It used to be illegal to come across our borders and stuff like that. You used to have to make an asylum claim based on a credible threat. You used to have to do that. But what they did is they went ahead and changed that law. They said, you know what? Let's add a new reason that's so broad anybody could come across. Let's go ahead And instead of, focusing on stopping people from coming, let's go ahead and set up an invite station for them just to come on across. We'll sign some names and take some paperwork and let them go on across. And then this way we can pretend that we're, decreasing illegal immigration. All they've done is just went ahead and lowered the standard. And so now you got all them people coming in. In this case, what they did is they said, you know what, let's make this into a problem that never was a problem. But we're creating it to be a problem just for Trump. It's just for you. We're making something special just for you. So now they're criminalizing all of this stuff that before wasn't even a problem.
This is a document case. A document case where a president of the United States or a former president faces 100 years in federal prison. Is this some kind of a sick joke on the American people? Joe Biden says he never told them what to do. Joe Biden had to sign off on that's becoming a National Archives case to have it go to the Department of Justice. Who does he think he's lying to?
Mark.
The American people? This is a guy that's got documents from the time he was in the U.S. Senate. For
Easy, Mark,
God's sake.
easy.
In his garage. I don't want to hear from the legal analysts the technicalities about false statements and obstruction. This should never have been a criminal case.
Whoa. See, now Mark's that last resort. I'm scared to unleash the beast, man. When it's time to bring out Mark, I go over to the cage like, okay, everybody back up now. All right, I'm going to hopefully, and I got to run. Because once he jumps out, he's all over the place like the Tasmanian devil. You hear that man warming up right now? So this should have never been a serious case at all. And they're trying to throw Trump in the slammer. Now, do you understand the level of evil you have to say, I'm about to frame an innocent man? And they're willing to frame anybody that is connected to him. Kids, friends, family, folks that didn't do nothing. They will frame everybody, including us, as the voters. Just like they tried to make it seem like all of us are radicals. All of us are a dangerous threat to our democracy. They're willing to frame all of us to stop this man.
Willful retention of documents. Well, what's the unwillful retention of documents mean? They're throwing all these process crimes and all these crimes that grow out of the criminal investigation against Trump. What did he do with the documents? Did he sell them to the enemy?
No.
No. That's why we have an Espionage Act, not the trick of a president. What did he do? Did he burn them all? No. The government has all the documents back. So there is no violation of the Presidential Records Act at this point. But they throw the book at him. They go after his attorneys. They make them testify. They're attorneys under the crime fraud exception to attorney-client privilege. That means he didn't have due process. His own lawyers were being subjected to interrogations.
Wow. Mark, you are pointing out the extent in which these people are willing to abuse their power. That's amazing to me. But you still have idiots that will sit back and listen and say, well, all of that's warranted because Trump's so evil. I'm sure they're not just abusing their power. They're really legitimately going after Trump because he violated something. Like what? All the stuff they said that he violated. How? Trump, you know how Trump do stuff. He always be doing stuff. They got so many people unaware that these folks are that corrupt and evil that they're framing this man. Unreal. But Mark's not done with him yet. He almost is, though. Here we go. How'd I get back over there? I didn't mean to do that. Where'd I leave off? Come on, Mark. Finish it up.
To the enemy? No. That's why we have an Espionage Act,
right.
Not the trick of a president. What did he do? Did he burn them all?
Nope.
No. The government has all the documents back. So there is no violation of the Presidential Records Act at this point. But they throw the book at him. They go after his attorneys. They make them testify. They're attorneys under the crime fraud exception to attorney-client privilege. That means he didn't have due process. His own lawyers were being subjected to interrogations.
What about Hunty, though? What about Hunty? Are they doing that for Hunty? Huh? Or are they doing that for Creepy Joe? Are they going ahead and busting down Joe's door, even though that man had top secret files back when he was a senator? Nothing? No? And Hunter? None of that stuff. In fact, they're working hard to clear up Hunter stuff. So they're working hard to sabotage and frame Trump, but working just as hard to clear up Hunter and Joe Biden. Unbelievable. And that's the DOJ, y'all.
And they had hundreds of in-person people testifying in front of grand juries. Thousands of collections of documents. For what? For what? And they indict him today? They indict him today in Miami? All of a sudden it's in Miami? All of a sudden we have a Florida grand jury? Because the moron in Washington figured out that there are venue issues that could lose him his case. This guy, this prosecutor, he lost 8-0 in the U.S. Supreme Court.
8-0?
When they overturned the conviction of the former governor of Virginia because this jerk took a statute and expanded it. A jury in North Carolina wouldn't convict John Edwards because this jerk took a campaign statute and expanded it. And he's taken this case and he's undermining the country and he's interfering with a presidential election. And let me be clear, as Jarrett said, the Attorney General of the United States made this final decision. This is not the independent counsel statute. This is a special counsel appointed by the Attorney General under a Department of Justice regulation. This Attorney General, who pretends he's Helen Keller, he made the decision to indict the former president.
Oh my! Mark, boy, I tell you, Helen Keller, blind, deaf, and dumb, don't know nothing. I don't, I leave it all up to the people of individual state. You have your hands in everything, Mayor Garlic. Yeah, you got your hands in the Hunter Biden stuff. You're trying to rig that, trying to go after folks that would testify against Joe, hiding evidence, all of that. Hands all in that mess. But we'll get on TV talking about the Department of Justice does not interfere in cases and we're leaving free reign for them to decide what they... And then when it comes down to all of these prosecutors, indictments and stuff for Trump, Garlic, I didn't see nothing. These are all done just because they felt that these charges need to be brought. Are you kidding me? If you think for 1 second that all of these bootleg prosecutors are not being consulted by Mayor Garlic, you're naive. If you think that Mayor Garlic and the White House don't know about all this stuff and they're just waking up every morning like us going, what? They indicted Trump again? Man, that's crazy. If you think that, you're very, very, very naive. In fact, just in the beginning of my show, we just heard Joe Biden start off by saying, I'm going to make sure that we use everything possible with under the Constitution to stop Trump from running. So does that also involve your DOJ director coming up with all this mess and throwing all these stupid indictments and mess like that? Of course it does. We're not stupid. We see what's going on.
And they made the decision to interfere in this election. You want to talk about an insurrection? This is an insurrection. And that's exactly what's going on here. Let me go on. Joe Biden is the crookedest crook that's ever been in the Oval Office. Everywhere we look, there's a predicate for a special counsel. They won't appoint a special counsel, even though it's compelled under the law in which they appointed this special counsel. And you're not supposed to appoint a special counsel against your political opponent. You're supposed to appoint one in the case of Biden. 20 shell corporations, $10 million coming from the communist Chinese military, spread out among the family. No businesses to support this. Endless meetings with Biden's, with Hunter Biden's business partner, Bob Alinsky, who ties Joe Biden to the crimes. Mr. Big, Mr. 10%. And what does Biden say? Well, then where's the money?
You gotta love the great one. Well, where's the money? That sounds like him too. He probably has no idea now. I don't know where I buried it all. So, Mark, it looks like you're raining down nothing but truth bombs and facts all over these bums. That's what you're doing? So we got all that evidence, but when you turn on the liberal media, you know what they say, y'all. There's no connection. Where's the evidence? We don't see how that makes a connection. We don't know what they're talking about. What they always going after Joe for nothing. Unbelievable. That's why the great one is the great one.
He's asking us, come and catch me if you can. The idea that this man isn't under a criminal investigation and that they criminalized a damn document case to go after Donald Trump is sickening. And I would say this to our fellow Americans. What? Don't be bamboozled by these cable channels and these fools who come on and tell you, well, he's not above the law. Are you kidding me? Democrat Attorney General in New York, Democrat prosecutor in Manhattan, Democrat prosecutor in Atlanta, Democrat Attorney General in Washington, D.C. What do you mean he's not above the law? There is no law. What's going on here is a disgusting disgrace. It is war on Trump, it is war on the Republican Party, and it is a war on a republic. The radical left is doing what the radical left does, while they cover up for Biden the way they covered up for Hillary. If Donald Trump is to be charged like this, Hillary Clinton should have been charged with 10,000 counts of obstruction, because that's how many emails she destroyed, and 5 counts of destroying cell phones, because that's how many cell phones they destroyed. I'm done, and I'm sick of it.
Boy, the great one. I tell you, you gotta appreciate his work, y'all. That man says, I'm done, and I'm sick of it. That's what he said. So there you have it, y'all. Yeah, so it appears that the great one has figured out what's really going on. And see, this is what kills me, because they're trying to make it appear. Hold on one second, I forgot something. Yeah, they're trying to make it appear that this whole thing is legit. They want us to approach this as if there is really a real reason to say, well, you know what, Trump should be indicted, and we'll have to see what the facts say. And when I see Republicans like Mike Pence and some others come out and try to pretend that this is a legitimate process, it burns me up. When I see people on TV trying to analyze this and talking about, well, you know what, we have to see the facts, I'm going, why? We already know what this is all about. We already know this is nothing about no dang on facts and all of that stuff. This is about them trying to railroad Donald Trump. So guys, we see what's happening. Mark brought it home very well, and we shall see, because they're not going to stop. We know that. Unfortunately, they will burn down the whole joint if they have to. And it's sad to say. It really is. It's sad to say, and it's sad to see. And it does bring a little bit of concern when it comes down to what is going to happen to our country if these evil, corrupt people manage to pull this off. We are definitely in a very, very dangerous situation. Our country, even if Trump wins, will never be the same again. When you look at the damage that these people have done over the last 8 years, it's irreversible. Life don't even seem the same after what they did with COVID, ravaged through our whole country, just dividing people. Things just don't seem like America as much anymore. I mean, I was willing to tolerate and deal with all the whining and complaining from the left and the Democrats, but then when COVID dropped and they start restricting rights and stuff that you can rely on and enjoy, places shut down, and I mean, it just became a mess. It seems like I'm living in a big fat dream right about now that's quickly about to turn into a nightmare, and they're trying their best to make it turn into a nightmare as they drop all these stupid behind indictments. Our culture won't be the same anymore. I mean, you know, I've seen them do so much evil right now. I'm jaded by it. I got my head on a swivel for it, you know, and that is why I say that these institutions, when Trump wins, must be dissolved so they no longer pose a threat. I don't like living under that threat, knowing that these people are this corrupt, but that powerful enough to whereas at any moment they could turn all of that power on the citizens. So if Trump wins, we got to get rid of those. They got to be for us to relax and be able to go out pushing kids on swings and swimming and having great grill outs and making investments. It's hard to move forward in your life when you're worried about these people waking up one day and saying, you know what, y'all on lockdown, or you know what, you all have to turn in your car, or you know what, you all have to rearrange your stoves. You know what, it's a national emergency because of climate change. You know what, the WHO now runs our country, or the G7 makes all the choices. You know what now, freedom of speech is no longer in effect. You know what now, we're sending martial law so people could come in and take your guns. You know what now, if you misgender someone, you can go to prison over that. These are things that you live under the threat, knowing that these evil, corrupt people is in power and have that much power. And they're using these institutions like FBI and DOJ to wield it. They got to go. Got to go. So God bless y'all. God bless America. Yeah, man, things are getting hot. As bad as this is, it still is exciting. You know, it's like watching a drama every day. You're going, whoof. Never know what's going to happen on this episode, Boy, I tell you, the last one was amazing. All right, so thanks for hanging out with me. Please don't forget to follow me on all the other platforms. Here is, just in case you have not joined the other number for text messages, here is the current one. All right, this will be the final one that I will need. So please text that number and just text MAGA and you'll see me reply to it. So this way you'll know that that's the legit Kev. It's the legit number. And I can send back text message, even if you did join the other number and you want to join this one, because there might be some times I can't send out a message through the other number, but I can through this one. Yeah, feel free to do that as well. But I don't want to make you jump through any hoops, extra hoops. If you donated through the Cash App, thank you so much. I mean, through PayPal, not PayPal, through the live stream, thank you very much. But you also are welcome to support the channel through my Cash App, my PayPal, all that good stuff. And last but not least, join my other channel, my alternative channel. Stop and think about it. And podcasts. All of these get converted to podcasts. You can listen to them on your podcast platform, okay? Now, let's get out of here, man. I'm sick of exposing all of these bootleg people. Where's my Trump hat? Oh, yeah. Trump 2024, baby. Choo-choo. The Trump train. The Trump train. Trump train is coming. Come on along. Trump train is coming. Come on along. That's how I feel about that mess. Dang on it. Bust out my lightsaber and go to work on these crooks. Make me sick. Yeah. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care.